of the same baby. And what did he do? He advocated dividing the babies. Well, that's when I became very well known, dividing babies also. So God has a sense of humor. He really does.
Now, I know you privately, one of the world's famous doctors whose name will be in history, but you are a believer in God, and how do you relate to Jesus Christ?
Well, you know, I personally think that my relationship with God and with Jesus is the most important thing in my life. And I totally believe that that's the reason that I've had the career that I've had. You know, I've had one after another, once in a lifetime situations come up and be able to be resolved successfully. Not because I'm such a great individual, but I think because God's influence has guided everything I've done. And that's why, you know, I called my autobiography Gifted Hands, because I believe it was a gift given to me from God. I don't believe that I'm more talented than anybody else, but I believe that God has given me a special gift, as he does to every single person, because he loves each one of us so much, and he wants us to be successful, and he gives us these enormous brains so that we can analyze what our special gifts and talents are, and then try to direct ourselves into those areas. And I think we will tend to excel to a much greater degree when we do that than if we just do things on our own.
You know, tell me, what are you into today? What's the most exciting venture or new venture that's in your mind?
Well, the most important thing for me today, I love the surgery. I still do lots of surgery on kids, trying to give them all a better life. You can't ask for a better thing to do than that. And also adults with trigeminal neuralgia, getting them out of pain. There's nothing better than that. But a lot of my energies and my wife's energy have been directed to education now. Through our scholarship fund, the Carson Scholars Fund, through speaking engagements, through the movie that was recently done by TNT on my life, to inspire young people and to help them to realize that the person who has the most to do with what happens to you is you. And you have to recognize that this is so critically important, particularly to our nation at this time, because, you know, we only produce 60,000 engineers a year. 40% of whom are foreigners. China produces 392,000 engineers a year. I love China, but come on, we need to get on the stick here. You don't have to be a brain surgeon to figure out where that's going in the future if we don't become a little more technologically savvy. And more importantly, if you go back and you look at our public education system over the years, you know, de Tocqueville, the French educator, philosopher, brought a convoy over here over 100 years ago to study the American education system, because everybody was so impressed with the products that we turned out of our public schools. And if you really want to be impressed, go back and look at a 5th or 6th grade textbook from 100 to 150 years ago and see what the young people in our country were expected to know. The exit exam for the 6th grade, I doubt that most college graduates today could pass.
Really?
Absolutely. And we need to bring that level of sophistication back again. It's okay that we teach a lot of the other things, but we need to get back to really basic stuff. People need to know how to read. They need to know basic mathematics. They need to be able to figure out the common things of life and forget about all this politically correct stuff. You know, I think that that's very destructive to our society. And teach them Teach them what made us into a great nation in the first place. It wasn't going around and throwing God out of our society and saying that we can't talk about him. You know, we were at one time a people where people would help their neighbors. If somebody's barn broke down, everybody would pitch in and help. Where people cared about other people's kids. Where every other word out of somebody's mouth wasn't, I'm going to sue you about this or that or the other. You know, we need to abandon this stuff, and the only way it happens is if people of faith with values and principles begin to stand up and not allow themselves to be pushed around anymore, because the country belongs to us as well. We can't just give it up so easily.
Wow. And what can a ministry like this do to help your cause? power cars.
Well, as you know, your ministry has been doing this for many decades already. I just wish more people would listen and pay attention to it and not try to marginalize those people who are people of faith. And try to highlight some of the people who are intellectuals in our society who are also people of faith. Because there's a tendency to try to say really very smart people don't really believe in God, don't really believe in a creator because they're smart enough to be able to understand all of these other things. Well, if they're so smart, then why is it that they can't explain to me how a Big Bang caused everything to be perfectly ordered? And they say, well, you know, the reason is because if you bang it long enough, you know, eventually you're going to come up with a perfectly organized thing. And I say, so what you're telling me is if I blow a hurricane through a junkyard enough times, eventually a fully formed 747 is going to come out ready to fly, which is considerably less complex than our universe, you know?
And God knows you a lot better than you do.
Absolutely.
And there are blessings you don't have that you don't even know that you don't have them.
No question about it.
And so I'm praying that God will bless you before you even know you need it.
And I pray that he will continue to bless your ministry and all the influence that it has not only in this country but around the world as we begin to spend more time thinking about values and principles that made us into a great people and stop thinking about all the negatives because there are a lot more positives than there are negatives.
Thank you.